Hey, what's up guys? Chad here with the Reptile Rangers. Now we're at the Kernersville Reptile Zoo and Medical Center again today. And this episode is going to be 6 of my favorite, easiest reptiles to take care of. Now, this is not just all of my favorites. I have a ton of favorites. Some that are not very easy to take care of. Some that are quite deadly and some that are very laid back. But this would just be 6 of my favorite of the easiest of reptiles to take care of. There's a ton of reptiles that's incredibly simple to take care of. Now, granted, some people think simple means it doesn't require a whole lot of anything. Each reptile requires quite a bit of stuff and things that they need as far as their ecosystem goes, diet and care and maintenance. But once you have everything they need, their relative daily care is very simple. Now, before we get into this, right here in this corner is our subscriber button. Go ahead and hit that, and we appreciate you doing so. If you already have, we appreciate you following along week after week. And if you're on your cell phone there, just blow that screen up to the full screen, and you'll see the subscriber Reptile Rangers watermark down in the bottom corner. There you go. All right. Start right off, of course, obviously, one of the first choices is going to be something like this guy right here, the bearded dragon. The bearded dragon, hands down, is going to be probably one of my absolute favorite, easiest reptiles to take care of. Now, just like with anything, they have care needs. Maintenance needs, lighting needs, heating needs, nutritional needs, and everything has needs. It has things that it has to have in order to live a quality of life. However, these are among some of the easier to take care of. They're incredibly social animals. They're very, very friendly. Most people love them because, for one thing, once they're associated with humans and they're used to human contact, you can throw them right up on your shoulder and you walk around with them for hours. People pull them out and set them on their couch to watch TV with them, set them on their computer desks, allowing them to look around and just hang out while somebody's working on their computer, kids doing schoolwork, whatever the case may be. These guys are absolutely amazing. They're a desert species, so their habitat is pretty simple, hot and dry. Makes it very, very simplistic, hot and dry. However, again, just like with anything, there are basic essentials that they have to have for a quality of longevity of life. But this would be animal number 1. That would be, of course, among 6 of my favorite of the easier reptiles to take care of. This is the bearded dragon. Now, the bearded dragon gets its name bearded dragon because especially males, when they get really mad or they're trying to show off, whether by territorial domination or trying to show off for a female for mating, they can turn that throat jet black just like a beard. But the bearded dragon from Australia, of course, in the top 6 of my favorite, easiest reptiles to take care of. Next. All right, so the next of the easiest of my favorite reptiles to keep would be probably my wife's favorite as well, because she breeds these and sells them, the Crested Gecko. A lot of people find themselves being very attracted to leopard geckos, and leopard geckos are awesome, but they're not in my top in my favorites. One of my favorites is absolutely hands down in the gecko line, the Crested Gecko. Now, there's a bunch of beautiful geckos: the day gecko, the tokay gecko, the lychees, the gargoyle, the satanic leaf, the leopard, the crested. There's a ton of different types of geckos. But hands down, my absolute favorite is the Crested Gecko. Now, what makes this so simplistic and easy, one of the reasons why it's in my favorite, is these guys right here have some of the most mild climates of most of your reptiles. So essentially, anywhere from about 76 to 80 degrees as an ambient temperature is perfect for these guys. So they don't require high temperatures, high wattage bulbs. They require a certain amount of lighting like most other reptiles, but they don't require a lot of excessive high temperature bulbs. So you can, a lot of times in certain houses where people have their thermostat set between 74 and 76 degrees, most of the time a good UVB bulb would just about cover the habitat for these guys. And wonderful bioactive ecosystems. When we sell these crested geckos, of which if you're interested in crested geckos, that's fine. We have babies all the time that she produces. Well, she doesn't, but her geckos do. She just helps with the incubation process. But the babies that are hers, we sell them individually, or we sell them with full bioactive or fake living or dead ecosystems, or fake ecosystems. So we can do full bioactive or not. However, one of the best points of the crested gecko is in the fact that a lot of people don't like feeding bugs. Like you've seen me doing with the bearded dragon with the superworms. These guys right here don't have to have them. There's a manufactured diet that normally I don't preach manufactured diets of any form, but for these guys, what it is turns a powder that turns into a fruit paste. Repashy, Pangea. There's a couple of knockoff brands through some of your reptile made manufacturers of things like bulbs and housing decor, stuff like that. There's a few of them that will make a certain type of crested gecko diet. But these will still eat bugs. Like she's got these guys here used to eating small dubia roaches, which are incredibly healthy for them, but they will also eat the Pangea diet, of which she does a lot of, between Pangea and Repashy and some of the other ones that's out there.
Now these guys are also known as the eyelash geckos.
And most women love them because they have these really long eyelashes right over the top of their eye, which makes them look like they have eyelashes. Let's see if I can get him up just close enough here. There we go. Right there. You can see those eyelashes right over the top of his eyes. Absolutely beautiful. One of the downsides to the crested gecko is that when these guys lose their tails, they do not actually grow them back. They're one of the few species of geckos that will not grow their tails back. They do have suction cup style feet that allow them to stick to surfaces. Unlike the leopard gecko, which is strictly stuck to the ground, the only way they can climb is by their claws, be able to grip onto things like an iguana or a bearded dragon. But these guys right here have suction cups to their feet, or suction particles to their feet that allow them to be able to stick to different surfaces. Now, this is the second of my favorite of the easiest reptiles to keep. Let's go to that. All right, guys, so number 3, and my favorite in the top 6 of the easiest reptiles to keep is the boa constrictor. Absolutely love these guys. I've bred boas and bloods and balls and burms and cobras and retics, and we've bred all kinds of things over the years. Ball pythons are boring, okay, let's be perfectly honest with it, and so oversaturated in the reptile market. There are so many people breeding ball pythons. They're a good snake. They're a great starter snake. Absolutely. Hands down, they are a great starter snake. But another really good option that's just as easy as the ball python is the boa constrictor. Yes, the boa does get a little bit bigger than what the ball python does. You're talking anywhere from about 5 foot, and they can reach 8 feet on average. Now, yes, they can get bigger, but on average they reach about 5 to 8 feet, depending male or female. But when it comes to simplicity, these guys are incredibly simple. They're really resilient, a really resilient snake. They're easier, they're less stressy than a ball python would be. Ball pythons tend to stress out quite bad a lot of the times, and they'll stop eating for just the stupidest reasons. Boas are pretty voracious eaters. Now, boas do come with a little bit of their own downside in the fact that if they're not handled at least on a semi-regular basis, they can revert back to somewhat of a wild nature, where typically ball pythons, once they're settled, they're always settled. But however, when it comes to one of the simplest and easiest animals in the reptile world that's my favorite to take care of is going to definitely be the boa constrictor. This right here is one of our super hypo babies, one of our babies that we produced this past year, or this, as a matter of fact, it was this year we produced it. This is one of the little guys that we have left, one of the few that we have left for sale up here at the zoo, and amazing little animals. Let's go to the next one. All right, so next in my favorite of the easiest snakes to take care of Next in my favorite of the easiest reptiles to take care of is hands down the Burmese Python. Anybody that knows me knows that I absolutely love these Burmese Pythons. I've been breeding them for years and years. As far as I know, I'm the only one in North Carolina that's breeding straight normals again. Just like this guy right here, just like Asia. We do a few other colors, of course, but it's like a lot of other things. A lot of your other colors are just everywhere, inundated absolutely everywhere. Like a lot of other colors are just inundated absolutely everywhere. And with that being said, obviously there comes a downside with these guys, and that's the size of them. Yes, these are incredibly simplistic snakes. Basically, just consider these guys ball pythons on steroids. I mean, they really are. Most of your Burms, you do find a temperamental one from time to time, but most of your Burmese, hands down, are super simple to care for, really laid back snakes. Now, as babies, they can be quite the pistols. They can be quite testy. But once they've had just a few handlings at all, they're super simple. I've only ever seen a few that just stayed nasty their whole lifetime. However, this is absolutely one of my favorite and one of the absolute easiest reptiles to care for, as long as they're set up correctly. Again, remember, this is all pendant that everything, their essentials that they need, is provided for them. Super easy animal to care for. Now let's go to the next one. All right, the next of my absolute favorite reptiles that are fairly easy to take care of, but are among my favorite, is the Tegu. Now, this is the red Tegu. This is, his name, ironically, is Red. This is Sebastian's Tegu, big old fat plump boy here. Most of you have seen Pretty Boy and Big Mama in videos before. Those belong to me. And Balian has a red Tegu as well. We have several of these guys, but absolutely, hands down, one of my all-time favorite reptiles, and are super easy to care for once their basic essentials are met, is the Tegu. Incredibly intelligent animals too. These animals are able to learn so much stuff and remember a lot of things as well. They're incredibly intelligent animals. They don't, I don't want to say the word show affection, but they can seek out human attention. And they're known to do so. They're also known to play with toys, like your dogs and cats will. We have seen examples, and I'm sure a lot of people on videos have seen examples of where Tegus will chase different balls and different toys and things around, playing with them like a little dog or a cat. So one of the hands down absolute best pets, one of my favorites, but another easy one to take care of. Again, and I can't stress enough, once the essentials are met, once the care needs are met, but a really easy one to take care of is the Tegu. All right, now for the last. So last but not least in the line of some of my favorite reptiles that are easy to keep, again, as long as the essentials are met, is the sulcata tortoise, the African spur thigh. One of my absolute favorite tortoises. We have many of them. We even had one that a lot of people don't know about. They don't know about his story. He's up front, and people can see him when they come in. They're able to feed him and interact with him, things like that. His name is Fritz, and he's a full-grown African spur thigh, and he survived a house fire. We did all the medical care on him and then kept him when we were done. There were things that we had to create a tortoise hoist, the very first one of its kind, a hoist to keep a tortoise up in the air, essentially so that we could push morphine and antibiotics, keeping SSD cream on his feet because he had third-degree burns on all of his feet, and complete smoke inhalation, pneumonia. The tortoise was really messed up. It's been about 8-9 years ago. He's doing absolutely fantastic. Probably the favorite animal that we have here in this zoo. And we have the only king cobra in the state of North Carolina now, the only exhibited king cobra. We have, of course, crocodilian. We have all kinds of cool stuff that people enjoy coming to look at. But hands down, the favorite is Fritz the tortoise. People absolutely love him. Sulcatas do require some strenuous care. Their diet is incredibly strict. They cannot have a lot of the things that some of the other tortoises can have. It can actually be unhealthy for them. May not kill them quickly, but it just may be unhealthy for them. So their diet is incredibly strict. But however, when these guys get the right habitat, the right environment, and the right kind of nutrition, some of the absolute simplest animals on the planet to care for. They really are. Again, like the Burmese Python, you've got to be ready for the size that they get to because they're going to become huge. All right, and right here, in just a second, we will show you a picture of this baby on Fritz, and that way you can see exactly how big they do get. So let's check this out real quick. So here's a video of Fritz snacking on an apple, and here's the same baby sulcata sitting on Fritz's shell. All right, so there again, you can see how big now these tortoises are going to get. Look at Speedy here, little Speedy Gonzalez. He's all over the doggone place. But however, these are really, really fulfilling animals. They will come when they're called. They'll eat from their owner's hands. They'll follow their owners around. They do learn quite a few things and become very, very used to human interaction. Now, these guys, we call them tanks on legs. If something's in the way and they're not a huge fan of it being in the way, they will tuck their head and charge like a bulldozer or a billy goat. And if it can move, they'll push it. So again, there are some things that you do need to be aware of when it comes to the sulcatas and a lot of your tortoises. Even the small ones can do some of the similar same things. They just don't have, and they're not going to have the strength that the sulcata will have. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Again, this is 6 of my favorite of the easiest reptiles to take care of. This is just my favorite, and it's just some of the easiest. Now, again, cannot stress enough, there's a ton out there that's just as easy as the ones that I have mentioned. There's a lot of them that I love dearly. I love all reptiles. And that these are probably some of the easiest ones to take care of that are among my favorite. And again, there are plenty of other ones. And again, of course, easy is a relative term as long as the essential needs for the animal has been met. Now, this is Chad. We are the Reptile Rangers here at the Kernersville Reptile Zoo and Medical Center. Feel free to write us in, leave us a comment, let us know of other things you want us to film about. If you need our help, being that we are a zoo and a medical center, like in every other video, feel free to get with us at any time. Our information will be in the description below. We appreciate you following along. We appreciate your subscription. If you have not done so, again, right down in the corner, make sure to hit that subscriber button. And we do appreciate you following along week after week after week. We'll either see you here at the zoo, or we'll see you on the next episode. Later.